Our good journey began 199 episodes ago when this Emmy Award-winning Sunday morning show contributor and slash NPR, wait, don't tell me, panelist and slash author and slash good friend of mine uttered these 10 simple words.
I'm Faith Saley, and you're entering a world gone good.
And then after that, a few more people decided to jump in on the good journey with a few words of their own. Hi, I'm Brett Gornick.
Hey, my name is Fashawn Wilson Ashley.
I'm Dudley Bean.
I'm Christina Wong.
I'm Andrew Morrison.
I'm Kezia Hosking.
Brody Nicholas.
Angelique Perrin.
Brad Manning.
Jesse Keenan. Tanya Pinkins.
Barry J.
Steph Hawkersmith.
Caroline Simpson.
George Kenyon.
Kathy Ledman.
Fraser Fitzgerald.
Amy Ball.
Kathleen O'Grady.
Mary White.
Ray Prussia.
Tasha Bradley.
Mark Gibson.
LL Abbott.
Jeremy Orr.
Cheryl Venable.
McKenzie.
Martha Madison.
Doug
Prince of Valley.
Sonia Blanchard. Shannon Coach. Amanda Kimmel.
Michael Maloney.
Janice Alexander.
Crystal Carson.
Dennis Hensley.
Angela
Kristen
Aiden.
Peralta.
Richard Beegley.
Stephanie
John
Coggins.
H.H. Ford.
Dave Humphreys.
Angela Briones.
Eric Poole.
Ellie Lack.
Hi, I'm Simone Gordon, better known as the Black Fairy Godmother.
Hi, I'm Julie McGuire.
Hi, I'm Ike Winter.
And I guess that makes me, Steve Silverman, your host. Welcome to episode number 200. Well, here we are. I can't believe it. Here we still are, is what I should say. What a day this is. We are on our 200th episode, and over the last 199 plus today, we have met so many different people from different places all over the globe, all of them shining the light and finding the light in the darkness to prove over and over and over again there is good out there and lots of it. Don't ever doubt that. I know there are times when the world seems dark. I know when there are times that the world actually is dark. But the light is there, and that's what we go for every Wednesday. Well, almost every Wednesday. I've taken a couple breaks here and there, but you feel me. That's what we're about. The voices you heard in today's open are only a fraction of the way more than 200 guests we have featured. If you're wondering how I come up with that number, remember, we've had shows with 2 guests and 3 and 5 and more, right? So we're way over 200. I want to start by thanking every good person who has joined us on here to share their story. And if you are one of those people and you didn't hear yourself in the open and your heart is hurting because you're like, he forgot me, I didn't forget you. There's only so much room. And if I had put every single person we've ever met, we'd be here for 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes of just people saying their names. So you got it. You got the goodness. You felt it in your heart, and you know that we're with you. And I also want to thank you, yes, you, listening right now, for coming along with me, us, on our good journey. Whether this is your first time listening or you've listened to all our episodes, again, thank you for proving me right, that we are good, and we want to celebrate the good that is around us. We have a really fun show to celebrate our 200th with you, but before we get going, I need to tell you something. It's kind of an official announcement. Here it goes. I'm now officially obsessed with this sound effect. Like, I want that to play when I enter a room. I want it to be my car horn. I want to go to the bathroom, and when I flush the toilet, you hear that. I'm that obsessed with that sound. I feel like by playing it, sounding it, Christopher Nolan is now in charge of this podcast, and you know what? I'm okay with that. Today is a party, and as you know, every party needs some good guests, including a few you've previously met, and maybe even one who's brand new. So sit back or drive on, keep walking or working out, making dinner or doing whatever you like to do when you give us a listen, because this one, as they all are, is for you. We begin this here celebration in a big way with a big return. And why do I use the word big not once but twice? Because we are reconnecting with the person from our number one most listened to and number one most downloaded episode of all time. Which episode holds the prestigious number one title? Well, you might be surprised to hear it. It's episode number 147, Skiing Gone Good, featuring good guest Julie McGuire. When we first spoke to Julie, she was in the process of conquering a mountain or two, or actually 33 to be exact. It's time to find out if she's celebrating herself. Did she complete her goal of skiing all 33 trails in the Catskills and become the first skier of the female persuasion ever to do so? Here comes Julie to tell you herself. So everyone knows there's always a number one, and everyone always asks, what's the number one most downloaded, most listened to episode? Well, the answer is called Skiing Gone Good, and it took place a little while back when Julie McGuire was sent to me from the lovely Victoria Gaither with a little challenge she gave herself. We're going to get a catch up with her, but last we spoke, she was at 28 out of 33 in her conquering of the Catskill skiing paths and trails and mountains. Julie, the first question, welcome back. Tell us now, where are we at in our quest for 33?
We are at 33 out of 33.
Fuck,
we've completed the project.
Nice. That's so crazy. Tell everybody, just give them a little recap. Why this? Why 33 out of 33? Why did you choose this?
Well, the Catskill 3500 Club, they offer a patch there's an initial patch and then there's a winter patch for climbing all 33 of the Catskills high peaks, which are 3,500 feet and above. And I wanted to get my winter patch, and I was like, maybe I should try skiing them. And I kind of put that off for a while because I didn't think I was good enough to do it because the terrain is not ski friendly. There's a reason why only 2 brothers have done it before me. The thought kept persisting. And then one day I said to myself, you know what? Let me just see how far I can get. And now we're at 33 out of 33.
This had to be more than just wanting a patch.
Yeah, it was definitely more than wanting a patch, but that's why it was 33 peaks, because that's on the list. But I initially got into backcountry skiing after my marriage ended very abruptly. I was blindsided. I had wanted to kind of get into backcountry skiing, which means skiing off the resort and kind of climbing peaks and then skiing down them. But my wife wanted to stay on the resort. And so I was online after she had left me, and this ad for Powder Quest's women's backcountry ski camp popped up. And the 3 magic words, no experience necessary. And it was those 3 words that told me that this was the universe saying, this is your way out. And I was like, all right, let me do this.
It's so crazy, but so cool. Take us through that 33rd day. Not day, but you know what I mean? I know there was more days than that. Well, what was going through your head that day?
People think of backcountry skiing and they think of people making beautiful turns in untouched powder. And it has this idealized kind of image. But when you're skiing the Catskills, you really have to, it's kind of like life. You have an idealized idea of how it's going to turn out. And then you're faced with the reality of it. You're kind of very in the moment when you're skiing the Catskills, unless it's the approach in. Sometimes it's like Catskill High Peak, which is what I ended on. It's you have a few miles of kind of relatively gentle stuff until you arrive at the peak and you have to climb it. So that part was okay. But then I actually had to take my skis off. I had to find a way to pull myself up stuff without anything to grab onto. So I earned it. There were 2 brothers that skied the high peaks before me, Jamie and Doug Kennard. And Jamie got into doing kind of these short documentaries in the last few years. he's been kind of like filming me on and off. So he was with me. So it was kind of nice to have someone with me.
Well, we are impressed. We are amazed. We are questioning what is the next adventure, or are you just going to like lay a little low for a little bit? Are you going to just enjoy the holiday, enjoy your life? What are you thinking?
No, I like being in the midst of a project. Actually, when I ended the project, I was actually kind of sad. It was kind of like bittersweet. I was like, oh, that's cool. I did this. Oh, this is a bummer. I don't have like, peaks to check off anymore. So one thing that I like to do is I actually like to showcase the terrain in the Catskills and show that the Catskills has terrain that people didn't even realize it had. So like when people think of like slide skiing, so like a slide is like if you look up at a mountain and it seems like there's like this like clearing of like trees and stuff that can happen from like landslides or avalanches, things like that. Usually like it knocks down the trees and it clears a path for like that are sometimes skiable. So like the Adirondacks has like a lot of slides. But people don't realize that the Catskills has slides too. They're short. They're very, very rocky. But like I want to ski those. I think I want to do maybe like the 100 highest peaks in the Catskills that are on public land because I don't really want to ask for permission on private land. And I've also just like found some great zones in the Catskills that I thought would really be like fun to ski and very skiable. I have a women's like mountaineering course that I'm doing in Mount Washington in February. I won a scholarship for that through East Coast Avalanche Education. And I also have a big trip planned to Switzerland in the spring. I'm going to be summiting the highest peak in Switzerland and skiing it, along with a bunch of other peaks. So, yeah. So I just love ski touring. The universe keeps sending me opportunities through skiing. I don't know why, but because I don't consider myself like a gifted skier. I didn't spend my whole life training. My parents, maybe when I was a kid, took me a few times a year. But maybe that's also like kind of like what makes it interesting is that like, it would be one thing if I was like training for this stuff all my life, but I'm just kind of like an average person that took this up, really intensely at 27 years old. So I guess, I'm kind of like an everyman type of character. So, I mean, whatever I do, everyone can do if they really wanted to. Like, I'm not like particularly gifted. I just got really obsessed with it because have an obsessive personality. So, maybe there's something about that resonates with people.
And the final question is a question we've asked you before. You can answer it any way you like. For our 200th time. It's more than 200 all the guests we've had. But for the 200th show, tell me something good.
I can tell you some of the things that I learned, I think, with this project. Being a New Yorker, like living in New York City, everybody has their guard up all the time. But when I'm like writing about my ski experiences, like I'm being very like open and candid and vulnerable and, like sharing things about my life. And that actually does resonate with people, which was something that was very heartening to learn because I feel like, I don't know, like in the city, it kind of just, I feel like makes me a little bit off-putting or something. Like, why is this chick so open? Like, I'm not trauma dumping on people or like telling people my life story on a first date or something. It's not like that. But I just think that I'm more kind of like direct and open and honest than a lot of people are. And so it's nice that that's actually appreciated. I learned to trust my intuition again because when my ex left me, I really didn't trust myself anymore. Like, I didn't know she was capable of being like this. Like, I had never seen this side to her. And I was like, how can I not like see this? How could I not have seen the signs? Here I am, like this born and raised New York City girl. I thought I was really great at reading people. How did I not catch this? But in like climbing these high peaks, at first I was like, I felt like inexperienced. And then the more I did it, the more comfortable I became with my knowledge. And I realized like I do really know what I'm doing out there and I should listen to myself. And I learned to listen to myself again. And I also learned the value of people sharing their stories. We've all been through something, and we really should share that with others. And I think it gives people hope. It makes people feel connected. I think like some of the greatest experiences I have are when I'm out in the mountains, and being in nature kind of like lowers everybody's guard and people are like more open. And people share their stories of their life with me. And I come to a greater understanding of them and like why they are the way they are. And like then I share my stories and like we connect, and that's just such a great feeling. And I just encourage people to do that more because we're all capable of doing that.
Thank you, Julie, for continuing to inspire us to climb mountains. We never know what's on the other side. Our 200th episode celebration continues with something brand new, or rather, someone brand new. Y'all know how I love to scroll around the Insta and find good people, and then I just send them a DM saying, hey, want to come on the show and share your good story? This is yet another one of those good times, and this here is Ike Winter, Winter with a Y, and he's all about living his good, authentic, artistic life. Okay, so I'm on the internets, I'm looking at my phone, I'm trying not to doom scroll, and I come upon a video. Everyone calm down. It was a PG-13 rated video. And this guy finds a piece of what we would consider trash sitting out on somebody's, not lawn, but that part beyond the sidewalk, I would like to say. It was like free, take, or maybe the garbage guys will come take it. Someone take this. And this guy shows up and he takes it. And he reimagines it into a work of art, then goes and rings these people's doorbell and says, hi, you know the garbage you threw out? I made something out of it. And these people, instead of calling the police, friggin' hug you and then hang it on the side of their house.
Yeah.
Ike Winter, how does your brain work when you see things on the side of the road?
A big word in my family is opportunity. I've kind of always made a living and made a lifestyle out of picking stuff up off the side of the road and somehow turning it into money and or a piece of art or something. So like, I don't know, just giving something a new life. My family grew up, we were scrappers back in the day. So you see the guys with pickup trucks driving and picking up wash machines and stuff and curbs and alleys and taking it to the scrapyard and getting $10 for it. That was my childhood. So now with my art and the way I go about life is I try to find wood that's on the side of the road and reimagine what that wood could be, because everyone views it as junk, and I'm here to give it a new life and give it new purpose.
And when you see something, does it spark something instantly, or is every piece something different where you take it back to your shop and you got to think about it?
Every day it's a new discovery, really. I work a lot in the nostalgic space. So when I am driving down the road, if I see something that's painted a certain color and that reminds me of like a specific image or logo from my childhood, that's kind of the only time that happens. Like, oh, that could be this logo because it's the exact shade of this color. But for the most part, I literally just pick up unique items and just kind of film myself picking them up. And sometimes they sit in my shop for 2 years, and sometimes they sit in my shop for 2 hours. So every day is just a different discovery with it.
And do you try to mix and match? Do you like go say, oh, I have a piece that I can add to this? Or do you try to say, this old chair is only going to be made, going to transform into one thing from the chair?
I kind of go about the opposite way. Like the chair is a certain color and tone and texture, and I'll use it on a variety of pieces. So in my world of my art, I'm not allowed to stain or paint or modify the colors at all. That's just like the provisions I put on the way I go about art. So if something is a certain color, I have to kind of save it as long as I can for as many pieces. So yeah, usually the one item will be in multiple pieces of my art.
I love that. Are you ever on the hunt for something? Like you get something in your head and you're like, I'm going to find it?
Not really. I'm more so the opposite, because I don't wish for things to be different in the world. I find what the world gives you and you make stuff out of that, because that's what is in your control. So if I find something or see something, then it can spark ideas, but I don't get lost in the what if scenario.
Okay, now do you want to be totally proud of me when I share this story, which I've shared on here before a while ago? So I put up my first new theater production play. I wrote, direct, produced it, okay? 19 years, I hadn't done anything. And I was like talking to these set designers, and a set can cost you $15,000.
Yeah.
And I was like, I am not spending $15,000 to then throw something into, a dump.
Yep.
I can't do it in my. I have a rain barrel. Okay, I have a composter. I'm that guy. I have one. We share one car. Okay, I'm that person. I'm vegan. Okay, anyway, so I just was walking to the gym, thinking like, what am I going to do? I'll do something minimal. I'll do something with boxes. I'll come up with, and there was a chair, and I'm like, well, that looks exactly like the chair I need. And then what I did over the next month is fill our garage with everything I found that people put out, and our entire set minus one item, just one item, was reclaimed. And I made that announcement on closing night where I said, if anybody wants any of this set is yours for free. And people were coming up to me after it, and they were just taking it home with them. And I said, so I did it like once and twice. So I get it, because there is an environmental impact here that has to be going through your head as a human and as an artist, right?
1,000%. Yeah. And I love that you took that approach and took it one step further, that at the end of the play, you were like, hey, all this was found. Please go give it a new home. Like, that is the most important thing. And what one person's effort is doing on the world versus the whole world and the environmental, like, it's so much to get your head wrapped up into. But I think I'm just doing my art the way I've always wanted to do it and the way I see it be a cool story. And if it inspires other people or creates visionaries for other people to look at their life or their art or their craft in a different way, then that's just like a bonus to it all, like inspiring other people to not just default to going to the store or going on Amazon to buy something that they need. Like, hey, can we use something that's already within our world to do this project?
100%. I get that. Now, I have a question for you. When you go back in the cases where you've decided to return somebody's previously thrown out item that you've artitized, how do you like that word I came up with?
I'll use that from now on. Thank you.
Do you get a little nervous, like, ring and run, or, you know what I mean? Like going up to the door, like, are they going to hate this?
So I actually worked for a nonprofit for a long time where our full-time job was surprising people with their dreams come true or lots of money or stuff like that. And I was actually the production manager behind that. So I had to kind of prepare myself over and over again. Like, for example, we handed out over $180,000 in one day to 7 different families. So I've kind of lived the life of ringing people's doors, talking to strangers in the grocery store and handing them $30,000 checks and all the emotions that come with it. So honestly, I'm kind of an adrenaline junkie and a surprise junkie in that factor. Like, doing that surprise and ringing their doorbell is like, I did that the same month I was on national TV, and ringing their doorbell and hearing their reaction is a million times cooler in my head than being on national TV. Like, the happiness and joy that I get from surprising somebody, especially with something that I created by my hands, and them appreciating it it's the coolest thing in the entire world. So do I get nervous? Yes, but in like the best way, kind of.
So the term for your family, isn't it pickers? Is that what we call people?
Yeah, I mean,
is that a derogatory? I don't know. Tell me.
No, pickers. I think with the show that became popular, American Pickers, it kind of like.
Right.
Yeah. I kind of I personally kind of strayed away from the word picker because it's like that's more like antiquing and like looking for like that perfect, thing. Yeah, I don't know if there's a word for it. We just kind of find stuff and turn it into stuff. I'm sure there is a word that we use within our family, but yeah, I don't know. It's not pickers though.
I just sorry about that. I just
No.
love I just love that it is taking something that exists and turning it in a new direction
Yeah.
and giving it new life. There's such growth to that, and there's such purpose on so many levels. And for me, I love that it's also not just, because we have so many of those shows out there like, oh, they go to one of those swap meet challenge things, and they take the set of drawers and now they just painted it a different color.
Yeah.
And it's still the set of drawers. But just so everyone listening understands, this guy I'm talking to, he completely makes it into something else. It's crazy.
Yeah. I just set the boundaries on my art that I didn't want to create art by going to the store and buying stuff. Because again,
Right.
that's kind of the default. If you and a friend are like, hey, let's do an art project today, your first thought is go to the store, buy a canvas, buy paint, buy. And I was like, I want to make really cool looking art and kind of compete within my space of wood artists, but do it with another challenge on top of it without using stain or paint. So yeah, when I look at like an entertainment center or a swing or, a cabinet, I'm just looking at the color and the texture and the thickness of the wood, not what it is. Like, the swing was like, okay, this wood is green. Green wood, unless it's painted, is kind of hard to find because it has to be weathered for so long and stuff like that. So, and also it's just cool. Like everyone has seen a swing on the side of the road, but very few people have ever seen a swing turn into a piece of art. So it's like, again, it's that capturing people by surprise and wonder and hopefully sparking just like inspirational thoughts within people's heads of what else could the thing be that I'm about to throw out,
Are there those moments where you're like, maybe not, yes? Or is it just collect, and the spark will come?
It's a little bit of everything, yeah. I mean, the day that I found that swing on the side of the road, I was on a run. I work in my shop until like 4 or 5 in the morning. So I go running at like midnight or 1 and the world is dead quiet. And I'm in the middle of an industrial park. So it's like literally 0 people, 0 cars. And I was running and I saw the swing on the side of the road and it was midnight. And I'm like, I'm the happiest kid right now. I'm about to film myself running a half mile back to my shop with a swing on my shoulders that weighs like 20 pounds, 25 pounds. And it was just like the giddiest thing for me. Like that moment was probably the happiest moment of my entire month. And that's just like the weirdest thing. It's a tick in my brain that like I just find so much joy and funny. It's just funny to me. Like, and the fact that I can do that, turn it into a piece of art and then, gift it back to a family or choose to sell it. And that's my living is like, that's the coolest job in the entire world. So, I don't know. Like it's, again, sometimes stuff I just pick it up and I'm like, maybe I'll use this, maybe I won't. And I put it in my shop. And then other times I pick up an item and I need to use it that exact day. And I get so inspired by using it. Yeah, every day is just an adventure with this, dude. It's super cool.
Where can people find you, follow you, and can they buy your art?
Yeah, so I do have some of my art available. I only really do like a piece or two a month at this point. So my goal now is to spend more time, at least like 40 to 80 hours per piece, sometimes over 100 hours now on some of my pieces. So I'm pretty selective with the pieces I do. I don't do like custom work at all just because I would get so bogged down with commissions and custom stuff.
Wait, wait, hold on. But for my 200th episode, which we're now on, you're giving away a free. I'm kidding. Go ahead.
I was like, sure. In my head, I'm like, I give away so much free art. Like, I love the dichotomy of my pieces sell for thousands and thousands of dollars, but then others just literally get gifted to the most random people. Like, I love the dichotomy of that. Like, you can't earn a way to get my gifted art. Like, you just happen to, I don't know. It's just like a choice I make every now and then to give away my art. Yeah, so I do have a website. It's ikewinter.com, winter with a Y. And then just on Instagram and TikTok and stuff. So
And the final question we ask everyone is not a question. It is a simple statement to finish. You can finish it any way you like. It doesn't have to do with your art. It doesn't have to do with anything except what you want it to be. It goes like this. Tell me something good.
You woke up today. It's the only thing you need to focus on. It's the only thing that matters. The odds of being a human being is 400 trillion to 1. And you had the gift of waking up today. And most people take that for granted. But I'm here in the world to remind people that that is something to be celebrated and acknowledged every single day.
Our final good guest needs no introduction. She just needs some fairy dust and a magic wand. I am so thrilled we have an actual black fairy godmother here with us. Ladies and gentlemen, get ready for some good, brought to you by Ms. Simone Gordon. All right, everybody, 140 episodes ago, I made a promise to myself, which was I was going to end this show. But then I thought to myself, wait a minute. Maybe I'm not ending this show. I need a sign. I need a fairy godmother to give me a sign. And I decided, this is a true story, that if Simone Gordon, the black fairy godmother, said yes and came on this show, that I would keep going. And I sent Simone Gordon a message on Instagram. And I think it was less than an hour later, she responded and said, I'd love to be on your show. I can do it in an hour. And we recorded that day. And that was my sign. So for our 200th episode, I welcome back to the show the Black Fairy Godmother herself, Miss Simone Gordon. Hello.
How are you? I'm so happy to hear your voice, and I'm happy that you are still here. Bravo.
Thank you, my friend. Now, let me ask you something. When you got my message and I, out of the blue, asked you to come on a show called World Gone Good, you said yes so fast. Why did you say yes so fast?
I'm going to be honest with you. My grandmother always told me when someone reach out to you, they're reaching out for a reason. So always say yes, because it might be a blessing in disguise, and it was. You're still here.
Yeah, and so are you. It was definitely a blessing. Tell everybody the basics of your story. Tell everybody who you are and how you turned into a Black Fairy Godmother.
Well, my name is Simone Gordon, and I'm from New Jersey. And I am a single mom of a child with severe autism. Before having my son, I was working for a Fortune 500 bank, and I was having a high position. And of course, you know, the stock exchange went down a little bit, and, you know, the mortgage crisis. So I lost my job in 2017. And during that time, I had my son, and he was diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder. So what do you do when you lose your job? It's in black and white. You go to, your local social services agency and to see what help that you can get. But sometimes everybody is not having a good day and they're not nice, right? So I began to stumble getting resources for myself and my son. So what I decided to do is I went on social media and I asked the public, where can I get assistance for myself and where can I get therapy for my son? And there was a group of women who was helping single mothers like myself who needed assistance. One wrote a letter to the Children's Specialized Hospital threatening them to pull my son's name and make sure he gets therapy. He's been on a waiting list for a year. And one kind soul stated, well, I love to shop at Target and I am a couponer. Can I help you with the pens and wipes every month? And the third woman stated to me, she's from Washington, her and her husband, they have, and they have a farm and they're big on education. And they wanted me to go back to school. And I said, hey, I'm looking for a job. I cannot go back to school. And I owe a bill. And Kimberly and Steve Rumberg from Washington said, hey, we're going to pay that bill. You enroll back into school. And a couple years later, I got my degree. And I said to myself, all of these women are giving me all of these blessings. They're giving me resources that I really need. But what about people like myself, single mothers, disabled people, the elderly who have pets that can't get assistance. What can you do? So I started fundraising on my own Facebook page, giving people resources, and it got a lot of buzz from different authors like Elizabeth Gilbert, the writer, different celebrities like India Irie, the celebrity yoga instructor, Jennifer Pasloff, and the list goes on. So I created an Instagram page on October 11th of 2019. And then within a few months, we raised up to like 13,000. And people were chanting, she's a fairy godmother. She's the black fairy godmother. And the history goes on from there.
Wow. Well, let's hit a couple points here. First of all, New Jersey! I grew up in Randolph, New Jersey, up by Morristown.
Mm-hmm.
And your son is now how old?
He's 14.
He's 14. Wow.
Already. I know.
And how is he doing?
He is in a new school, a special needs school. He's progressing. He's still nonverbal, but he uses sign language. And that's another skill that I am, going to school for, is learning sign language to communicate with him. He's a typical teen, like, attitude sometimes, or want to do teenage stuff. And you're like, no, you can't eat that. You got to eat vegetables. So typical teenage boy. And I am so, so pleased at the women who helped me get therapy for him, because he is progressing.
We talk about something on here a lot about being present and living in your moment. Did you feel in your, I want to call it your old life, but I'm going to call it that, right? When you were back in your banking days compared to now, do you feel more present now than you felt before in your life? Do you have those moments where you're just like, I'm in my moment?
I'm going to be honest with you. Yes, I feel as though this is the greatest time I have ever had in my life, because I am really changing lives. I'm meeting people. When I was at the bank, all I thought about was money, materialistic things. I was not thinking about the world, maybe because I was naive and young. But as I got older and I went through hardship, I started meeting different people. I started meeting all these great people who had great lives, but they just experiencing that one rut. So I learned in my lifetime is that, hey, just that one cup of coffee or that one conversation at the grocery store can change your life. And like you said, I am at the time of my life right now. I'm meeting so different people. I'm learning things, even while helping people. I'm just learning so much, and I just love it.
Perseverance plays a big part of this, don't you think?
Yes, it does.
Is that something that is just instilled in people? Is that something you just found on your own, or have you always had it?
I always had it. My grandmother had a big house, and she used to actually bring people from off the street into her home. She fed them, she clothed them, gave them guidance along the way. And I learned that through her. I always had it in me to help people, but I got so in tune into, walking around in New York City and the stock exchange. And I really was into myself. But when you become that person that you never thought that you'll be, and you be out on your luck, it really changes you. So I knew I had it in me, but I just didn't know how to give it away. I didn't know how to help. I didn't know how to reach out and say, hey, can I help you? Or what can I help you with? I just didn't have it at that time, but it was in me because my grandmother was a part of me.
Do you think it's ever too late?
It's never too late, Steve. I have volunteers on my team who are in their 60s and 70s who never volunteered a day in their life until they heard about me, saw me, spoke about me, read about me. And they're in their 60s and early 70s, and they're now changing lives themselves by being peer specialists, talking to people for 5 minutes, having coffee with some of the seniors, or just sitting down, speaking to people, or going for a nice jog or a run. So it's never too late.
It's funny that you say a jog or a run, because that's how this show started. I was out on a run. It was the height of the pandemic. I was like, damn, I need something good. Why doesn't somebody make anything good? Why can't there just be good? And I literally just said, I'll do it. I'll do it. I'll figure it out. And that's such a key thing, is that I believe we can figure it out. And I think education plays a lot into it. And that it is never too late. You're learning sign language, for goodness sakes. I took sign language in college. I know how to say hello, my name is, and I speak sign language if you speak to me slowly. I know how to do that in sign language.
See, I'm learning because my son, he's nonverbal. He say very little, but I need to communicate with him going forward. So he will sign to me, and I'm going to a local community college. I had to pay $100, but it's so important because disabilities are so broad. You have to learn, because now they're in the workforce now, so you can't get away with it. You really have to just be optimistic to learn anything. Now he takes speech therapy with a dog.
Amazing.
And that dog is helping him communicate, and I just love it. Yeah.
How much more classes do you have to do for the sign language?
I have until December 18th. It is a certificate. So a lot of people don't know I'm in college, but I'm also taking a certificate course to learn sign language for my son. So I graduate with my certificate December 18th for sign language. And then I go back for my bachelor's degree, which is biology and public health, in January at Rutgers University. So I'm busy.
You are busy. So by the time we put this up, you're already going to have your certificate in that. And it's just amazing to me. Is there anything that is on your bucket list, your to-do bucket list, that's still like, I got to do that?
I want to travel, Steve. I never traveled before, and I'm 38.
Wow. Where do you want to go?
I don't know. I want to travel somewhere like an island or something like that. I'm all like, since everything hit me in 2017, I just been a doer, giver. But now I'm like, I need some self-care a little bit so that my heart can be healthy and so that I can be healthy for the world and, put my wings down a little bit,
Now, do you want to, are you going to travel on your own, or are you going to take Jarvis with you?
I'm going to take him with me. He needs to learn, and people need to learn him. So why not?
Has he ever been to Disney World?
He never has.
Is that on the bucket list?
It is on the bucket list for him to go to Disney World. I know there's a lot of restrictions for kids with disabilities, but he loves Mickey Mouse, and I want to take him before he turns 18 at least.
Well, I have to tell you something. If you can figure out what the restrictions are, we're going to send you guys to Disney World.
Steve, don't get me crying.
No, we are. So you got to just get me some dates, and you got to figure out what the restrictions are. And we're going to figure out how we're going to get you guys there. And we're going to send you to Disney World. How does that sound?
You have saw me during the pandemic push and helped thousands and thousands of people. No sleep. I graduated my associate's degree. I did everything I could. And I always said to myself, no one is listening. No one understands. Special needs child. Wake up 4 a.m. I got to change him. I got to do all this stuff, right? And I said to myself, I got to penny pinch and go on vacation. I got to treat me and Jarvis as something. And I never knew up until today that somebody was actually listening to my heart. And it means a lot to me. It really does.
It's my absolute pleasure. It's our absolute pleasure. So you and I are going to just chat this up. We're going to find a time and a date, set of dates, and we're going to figure it out. And you're going to take him to the happiest place on earth.
Thank you so much. I'm speechless. I'm totally grateful. It's the best gift I can ever have other than him, because he was born a couple weeks before my birthday, but this is beautiful. I appreciate you, and I just want you to continue with this show, because there's a lot of, I would say, not good things out there. And this is one of the podcasts that shows not just positivity, but is resourceful. You can learn something from a person that gets on your show, and I just thank you for that.
I thank you. I'm so glad to know you. And I also am planning on my next New York trip. We talked about it, me and you, a million times, but you and I are going to meet up. I'm going to fly into Newark on my next one, and we're going to find a time to meet up as well, because I got to give you a hug in person.
Yes, I would love that. And we could have fun in New York and be New Yorkers for a couple hours.
Oh, I'd love it. And I thank you. And I thank you for all you do and all the inspiration you give everybody. It is pure magic that I get to talk to you, and everything you do is what we're trying to do here, is just simply to do it for the good of it, and to just put it out there, and know that there is light in the darkness, and you can shine the light and you can be the light. You just have to choose to do it.
That is so true. On behalf of everyone that you have ever interviewed, we are thankful and grateful for you all.
Since we recorded this conversation, the team at World Gone Good, along with some good friends of ours, have all gathered together, and we have been collectively raising funds to send Simone and Jarvis to Disney World this April. You can get in on the good. If you want in on the good time, you can Venmo any amount. And when I say any amount, I mean, yes, even $5, $10 directly to Simone for this trip. She is at Simone-Gordon-4. That's at Simone-Gordon-4, as in the number 4 on Venmo. 100% of the money that you send will go to them having a great time and getting to get some popcorn and maybe a caramel covered apple or some mouse ears. I don't know. Listen, just include a note on it that says for Disney World and get in on the good. Well, my friends, I thank you for joining us for our 200th.
Excuse me. Hello.
Wait, I'm sorry. Who is this?
This is Faith Saley.
Hi.
Just to jog your memory, first of all, in a multiverse, we're supposed to be married. Remember, before you married your husband and I married mine, we made that promise to each other. But more importantly, I believe I introduced the very first episode.
I think I already said that at the top of this episode, so I guess, what are you, like a bookend now? You're coming to, like, what are you here to do? Mock me?
I am here to have a voice. Like all women going through middle age, I will not have the narrative stolen from me, Steve Silverman. No, I'd like to join the cool kids. I think it's been 100 episodes since I get to jump in.
It's been 100 episodes, and I didn't want to bother you because you're a very busy person. No, you're a very busy person. You have the CBS Sunday Morning Show. You have wait, don't tell me.
I'm doing a podcast about envy on Audible, and I'm here to say I'm kind of envying the people who got to be in this episode.
Wait, but you also have a son who's in announcer booths at baseball games, and a daughter who just starred in her class play.
No, stop it right there. Not a class play. How dare you? This is like a legit New York City, Manhattan theater company.
Which I just want to point out, she played the first Annie ever with glasses on.
It's true. It's true.
You know what that means? That means it was a smart Annie. Because how I know a woman is smart when I see them in a production or film is if they're wearing glasses, then they're intelligent. But if they take them off,
then they're sexy.
They're sexy.
But their hair has to come down. Their hair has to come down.
Right.
The other way that you know she was a smart Annie is that from the knees down, she dressed like me in grad school because she wore Doc Martens. Pre-Daddy Warbucks. Like once Daddy Warbucks gets his paws on you, you have to wear Mary Janes. But she was wearing Doc Martens just like I was in 1993 in grad school.
I also have to tell everybody listening really quickly that this production featured a Sandy, the dog.
Named Seymour.
That was, what was the name? Seymour?
Okay, get this. Seymour is the Elaine Stritch of Sandy's. Seymour comes out on stage holding a long cigarette, wearing a white button down and only black tights and the cigarette has a long ash. Seymour is 15. This is Seymour's 15th year as Sandy. Seymour was giving my daughter notes.
Seymour is a terrier of some sort, and Sandy's usually like a big, curly, floppy, 80-pound dog. And this Seymour at 15 years old is like 9 pounds, in a wheelchair with cataracts, saying how things were better. You know, the theater was better in my day. I'm sure she said that at some point, right?
She was like, I wish I could go back to Starlight Express.
She pointed directly at somebody in the audience and said, that person's in my eye line. I need to get this person another seat.
So my daughter, as you know, is named Minerva. And I was like, Minerva, what's it like to play I actually said this word to her, the titular role. I thought that would help her in our SATs someday. And she said, Mommy, I got to say, I'm so excited to play Annie. The only thing I'm nervous about is that Seymour is going to die in my arms when I sing tomorrow. I said, honey, that is the best way to get over stage fright. Just think about keeping Seymour alive. Oh God. Anyway, listen, everybody. I know your audience in particular loves animals, and I want to say that Seymour is absolutely beloved and thriving and ready for next year's Annie.
You have derailed the 200th show. How dare you?
Seymour's somewhere singing I'm Still Here. Oh God. Okay.
Okay, what else is going on since we've spoken to you last 100 episodes ago?
Oh my gosh. I this past year I did more stories for CBS than I've ever done, and they were wonderful and beautiful and strange and hilarious, and so that was great. And now I'm scampering to find some kind of thing to tell you that I've been doing that legitimizes my existence. That makes me worthy of showing up on this show with all these amazing people whom you've interviewed over 4.5 years.
4.5. Yeah. What a crazy, crazy ride. And it all started because I reached out to you and said, oh my God, that hilarious story you told about your children and the Anti-Lock Foundation. And
TELF, the Anti-Lock Foundation. Yeah. Well, I have to tell you, when I've been here this whole episode. You didn't notice me, but I was looming behind you as if in a horror movie. And when I listened to the opening montage, I really popped in just to hear my own voice. But then listening to the montage of all those people and all those names, I actually got choked up because I feel like we have never needed your show more. And just to hear it, like just the auditory montage of good, oh my gosh, I'm all choked up. Good people, just good people after another good person, after another good person, and people who are living with purpose and joy. It's like, I just need to be reminded that there are so many good people in the world. Because so often they're just crowded out in our consciousness by all the hard stuff.
Yeah. And I just spoke to my friend Lisa, who produces this show with me. Huge shout out to her for all the work she's done and running the website and all that. I appreciate her so much. And she knows that, even though I give her shit all the time. We just were talking about this. And I said, there's so much darkness.
Yeah.
And there's so much negativity. And so many of the places that we used to find joy have become these politically motivated, activated, positive and negatively places, especially social media.
Oh my gosh, Steve, on one of the episodes, you asked me what was something good. And I talked about how I had made friends through social media. That feels like the Stone Age.
Yeah. And then we feel, guilty when we have something happy happen, and we're like, can I put this up? We're all yelling at each other. Would anybody like to know that something good has happened for me? And so, especially with what happened here in the United States, with the election and with the recent fires in Los Angeles and all the things that are going on, I said to Lisa, I said, we're going to keep going. It is not hard to find. In fact, I talk about this before. Guests come to me, publicists come to me, people are sending me emails saying, I'd like to come on your show. And it's not just like, oh, that makes my job easier or me bragging. It is actually like, no, you get it. You get the connectivity. You get that this is a journey together. And what I love about it is that we do get to have these conversations, and anybody listening right now laughed, smiled, got teary-eyed, felt something. And it matters. It does matter. And the human connectivity is good, period. That's where we started with this in episode 1 with you, with a lock on your bedroom door, which I have to ask, is it ever used anymore?
That lock is occasionally used, and I will be dead honest. It is usually used when both kids are home and I am the only grown-up home, and I lock the door to eat chocolate in my room.
Okay, you just made me snort.
It's funny because it's true. I want to say that I think it is astonishing that something that you created low so many years ago is more urgently meaningful than ever. And I also am very humbled by all the people you've had on the show, because we came on to laugh. I know we also talked about the wonderful experience my family had taking our 104-year-old friend Ruth to vote.
Right.
There is a sense for people who listen to the show about, like, listen to what these people do. Listen to the purpose they've found. Not in like a comparative, a competitive sense, but like, just listening to your show inspires me to think like, okay, what are the things I can do? What can I do to repair the world today?
Life is complicated as fuck, but it is also as simple and as good and as decent and kind and the way you want it to be. It really, it doesn't have to be. It can be simple. It is simple to be good. It is simple to hear other people's good stories. It is simple to feel good. It's hard as fuck right now when we're inundated with so much things telling us not to be, telling us to live on the edge, telling us to feel all the complications. Mm-hmm. Yes, be angry, feel angst.
Dig into your trauma. But it is about connecting. It is so hard to feel despair when you choose to connect.
Well, to wrap this all up then, together, here we are as we were in the very first show, the 1 year show, the 100th show, the Christmas show. God, you've been here so many friggin' times for the 200th time.
So excited.
Tell me something good.
Oh, it was when we got to see you. It was when my kids and John and I met you in Central Park on one fall morning, and we sat outside right by Sheep Meadow and had breakfast, and like no birds even pooped in our food.
I love two things about this. I gotta say really quickly. I love the fact that there was a siren in the background while you said that, because it's so New York City.
Yep.
I also love that when you told me to meet you, you're like, there's a cafe in Central Park. And I'm like, there is? And you're like, yeah.
It was like the 69th Street Traverse.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I just walked in and I had my Waze open because I'm like, where is this?
But the thing is, like, there's something, and this goes back to staying connected. There are those humans in our lives whom, like, I think of our connection, Steve, as an ellipsis. Like, we are always ... If you are blessed with one person like that or a few in your life, you always pick up where you left off. Your entire relationship is a to be continued, or as Minerva and I say at night when I kiss her goodnight, I say TBC because she wants to keep talking. But you just showed up. Like, we hadn't seen each other. I don't know how long it's been. It was what, a year? I don't know. You're like, hey, I'm in town. I have time. Do you have time? Yeah, we all met for breakfast. You've seen my kids grow up. You made them laugh. That is what it's all about.
Huge 200th thanks to Julie, Ike, Simone, and Faith for joining us today to celebrate. Next time on World Gone Good.
I spent at least half of my life really worried about what people thought and putting, that fake facade first. With Hot Mess and the podcast, I mean, my shift in how I've been thinking has just completely changed. And I think, like I said, with your age, you get to a point where you're just like, I've been caring about this for so long and it's not serving me.
Brittany Tran gets it. She gets that other moms like her sometimes are tired, sometimes fall behind, and sometimes just need an extra pair of hands. That's why she's not just a member, she is the president of the board. What board, you ask? The board of Hot Mess Express, the women-led nonprofit with chapters all across the United States. This little and powerful and quickly growing group of women serve other women in their community without judgment through cleaning, organizing, and offering a fresh start. It is so simple. We talked about it in this very episode. Community. This is what I'm talking about. And we're going to keep on going with that exact word and that exact discussion on our next all-new episode. It's a good way to start our 200s, don't you think? Until then, be good.